so I am back with another video here, and I want to share with you guys what kind of makeup products I would save and what I will splurge on. So anything that I would save would be, I guess, products that I would purchase at a drugstore. And anything that I would splurge on would be brands that are offered at Sephora, aside from the Sephora brand itself. So anyhow, let me get started. Start off with my lips. So I've owned a lot of lip products, from lipsticks to lip gloss and all of that, and I come to realize, you know what? All I care for is pigmentation, and as long as I'm using chapstick underneath, any kind of lipstick will do. So it will be something I would save, because currently right now I've been really loving the Almay. This one is the Almay Smart Shade Butter Kiss Lipstick. And I think this was 10 Berry Light. I've been raving about this. It's probably featured in a few of my other videos already. So this is a drugstore brand. I think the most expensive I've seen it for was like $10. So something like that, because of the pigmentation, the hydration, I'm all about that. For it to last long? Not necessarily. I don't exactly need it to last long. I don't mind reapplying during the day or anything like that. So yes, I would say save for lipsticks anyways. So moving on to, I guess, concealer. Concealer has been in my life for a really long time. Even before I even knew how to, you know, do a full face makeup, I would already know how to use concealer because back in high school I have acne prone skin. So in other words, there's a lot of scars and stuff like that. And I've always had dark eye circles. So it's always been something I've been covering up close to a day-to-day basis, and I'm still doing it now. So I would say that is a product that I would splurge. Reason being is because shades-wise, I like to test things when I go into like drugstores or even any cosmetic store. I like to test things on the back of my hand, but the shade of the back of my hand doesn't exactly match, you know, my face. And unfortunately, I'm not a type of person that would go up to a drugstore and be like, oh, okay, I'll take that concealer and let me test it out on my face, when I don't know how long it's been there. But at least, like, let's say I went to Sephora or a MAC store or something like that, they at least would sanitize it for you before applying onto your face. And of course, if you got the wrong shade or whatever, and you opened it and you didn't like it as much, you can always bring it back to exchange. But in a drugstore, you can't really do that. So this would be something I would splurge. And personally, I've been really loving the MAC Moisturecover in NW20. It matches my skin really well. It hydrates, doesn't crease, none of that, and I can wear it alone. That's a huge thing for me. Moving on to foundation. Foundation is also something I would splurge on. Which would be the Nars Sheer Glow Foundation, is one that I've talked about before in another video. I did a comparison with the Revlon Color Stay one, which they're fairly similar, but personally I find this one's a little bit more natural. It has a more yellow undertone than I think the Revlon Color Stay one. And once again, same reason as the concealer. If I got the wrong shade, or, you know, I went sun tanning or something like that and I wanted to exchange it, I can always do that. And this would be something I would splurge. Of course, setting my face. I've tried out high-end brands and drugstore ones, and I would say, you know what, this would be a product that I can save as well. So I would, personally right now I'm using the Moly Baby Doll BB Powder. And this one's in shade 1. So it's more of like, I guess, a BB powder or BB cream kind of scent, but it goes great. It sets my face really well, holds, like, it doesn't make my face look greasy, at least not in my T-zone area, because I have combination dried skin, although I do get pretty oily on my T-zone by the end of the day. So this really does help. So that would be something I would save, because Moly is relatively on the cheaper side. I mean, look how big this jar is, and I believe it's like less than $10. Anyhow, moving on to cheeks. So blush-wise, all I care for is pigmentation, and I guess the shades that you can get, and I think it's a product that you can save. So I personally really like this Annabelle one, which is a drugstore brand that you can get in Canada. This is a very natural color. This one's in 44. I don't even know if they offer this anymore. I've owned this for a number of years, but it's kind of been stashed away in my drawer, and recently I've just been taking it out. But yes, it is something that I will save on. Moving on to, I guess, this part of my face. Eyebrows wise, I've been using a eyebrow kit from Kiko. Kiko is, I don't think it's a drugstore brand, nor is it, I guess, actually it is probably a drugstore brand because this doesn't cost that much. I think it was probably less than $15 Canadian to get. I did get this from a swap. And as you can tell, I've been really loving it because I've hit pan! I do use this on a day-to-day basis, and I'm not too picky because I like to use shadow to fill out my eyebrows. So you know what? Honestly, an eyeshadow palette will probably do. So moving on to eyeshadow-wise, I also think it's something you can save on. Like this nude palette alone, I don't think it replaces like the Urban Decay Naked palette or anything like that, but it's great. It has all the colors that I need and so forth, so it is something that you can save. As long as it has good pigmentation and it has a good variety of colors, I think that will do. And a lot of drugstores nowadays are coming out with like palettes like this. You don't need to go and buy like, you know, the big brands that are offered at Sephora. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still own them and I love the colors that they offer and everything, but I suggest this is something you can save on. And you know, I also own the Dolly one, which comes with 4 shades. Dolly is also a drugstore brand if you go to any of the Asian cosmetics stores. It is on the cheaper end. Anyhow, moving on to, I guess, eyeliner wise. Eyeliner, I'm very indifferent about that because currently I am taking out these 2 eyeliners with me. This one to wing out my eyes and this one to fill it in. Dolly once again, I think it's a drugstore brand, and of course Lancome is definitely a splurge. I care for pigmentation and whether if it is waterproof or not, so I kind of do lean towards the Lancome one because it does last longer, it doesn't smear, pigmentation is great. This one, on the other hand, the pigmentation is lacking. I don't know if it's because it's getting old or anything like that, but definitely this one will do because it's definitely waterproof, and that's what I really care for. Moving on to mascara. Mascara is something that I splurge on. I know a lot of people might not agree because there's so many mascaras out there, even at drugstores, that are just as great, but I care for whether if it transferred to the bottom of my eyes at the end of the day. And it's great to know that this brand here, Boujoirs, doesn't. And I don't know if it has anything to do with how, like, because it's a 2-step process where the brush prepares for 3D volume is the first step, and then of course the second step is where they apply on the actual product, the actual like mascara product. So it's great, I love it. It is on the pricier side, so I would say this is a splurge. Last but not least, of course, how could I not talk about my nails, of course, right? I personally think you can save on that. You don't need to buy the big brands out there because as long as they offer a variety of colors, you're good to go. So I've been really liking my Sally Hansen Miracle Gel, which is exactly what I have on my fingers today. And this is definitely a drugstore brand, even though it's on the more expensive side, because I guess one of these will be like $10. But you know what? If you chose like Deborah Lippmann or, you know, those kind of brands, they're big brands and everything. And of course they cost a lot more. But I say, you know what? As long as it doesn't chip and it has a really good brush, to me, you're good, really. So, and of course, top coat is really important. So as long as you can get those 2 together, that's all I really care for. And of course, a variety of colors. That's another big thing to me. So it's also something that I can save my money on and buy it from a drugstore. Anyhow, that is all for me for today. If you guys like any of the products I mentioned, feel free to give me a thumbs up. And I hope you guys also found this a little useful, that, you know, there are certain products you can save and certain products that you might want to splurge a little on. Anyhow, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye for now.